Hello, I'm Judith Lowe from PPD Learning, and these are my 5 top tips for excellent public speaking and presentations. The first one is all about preparation. Fortune favours the prepared, and this is all about looking at who is it for, what do they really want, what's their kind of culture, what's the timing of it, where will it be, and in a kind of iterative process of pulling your ideas together and pulling other perspectives together, you start to bring the timing and the sequence and the punctuation points of what it is you really want to say, the point of it, the purpose of it, so that that is clean and clear to everybody there. The second thing is rehearsal. This is also a very important part of preparation, which is being able to rehearse things and actually see how long they take, see where the natural breaks are, and start to become more fluent with little runs of content so that it's all in your system. And what this means is that should you want to run a bit of a riff or become spontaneous, or there's a heckle or some feedback or something unexpected happens, you've got the ability, because you absolutely know your stuff and you know where you are, you can go, as it were, off script, off piste, and deal with anything spontaneously that is actually coming your way and that is appropriate and relevant in that moment. The third thing, of course, is the presentation process. And if there's one word, really, it's about breathing. And breathing out as much as breathing in. You need to just settle the whole system so that you can center, you can become very present, you're very awake, alert, you're able to be what in NLP we used to call in uptime. You're able to calibrate, you're able to see and hear in the living moment, in this extraordinary live moment, how what you're doing is actually going down. And you're able to make those subtle adjustments of tone, of volume, of focus, of humor and lightness or seriousness, in relationship to actually how your audience is experiencing what you're doing, so that you join the loop, the living field between you and your audience, and you're sensitive and responsive to that. The fourth top tip is to be able to design for yourself a kind of review and evaluation process of your own performance, such that it is a kindly one, but also a realistic and worthwhile one. In other words, what is your evidence going to be that you have done a good job? Obviously, part of it will be, did everyone fall asleep? In which case, maybe you were boring. Did they all walk out? In which case, maybe you were offensive. Things like that are actually easier to gauge in a way. So it's a question of what did you see with your own senses and hear with your own ears? Maybe you have feedback forms, but maybe you can proactively find out from the sponsor, if it's a keynote speech, from the rest of the wedding party, if it's a wedding speech, from the CEO, if it's a corporate speech, what did people think? Did they get the purpose of what it was that you intended? And did they get it in the way that you intended it? So in other words, this process is the learning process. It's a dynamic learning process that you need to design for yourself to take your learning forward. And often what happens is people either go, I don't want any feedback, just I don't want to know, or they go, even one person who didn't like it, maybe 500 people loved everything you did, one person wasn't so chuffed and sure about that, and you've started listening to them because you've got a kind of you're running a negative bias. So the thing is, how can you start to construct and play with a really useful, viable, realistic, and yet kind to self review and learning process, so that you feed all that into your next performance. And my fifth top tip is to see the art of presentation as an art, as a life skill, that is also part of your pathway of learning and growth and evolution as a person. It's a wonderful, wonderful, real privilege to be able to talk to and with other people, to be able to have the chance to get your message across, to be able to nurture and nourish and challenge and entertain other human beings in some really unique kind of way, and to allow yourself and give yourself permission and encouragement through your life to be able to get better and better at that process, I think is just a wonderful thing. So there's my 5 top tips. Preparation, really do it. It makes all the difference in the world, including number 2, rehearsal. Then number 3, the actual live moment of presentation, being awake, being present. Number 4, designing a really great review process for yourself. And number 5, getting the bigger picture of this. This is about something very, very personal and unique that you are contributing to creating an extraordinary living moment in a community with other people. It's a wonderful thing.